very first band fight and what was it over?
I think I remember one fight where we got pretty heated late night. We were arguing who's a better band, the 1975 or Laney. We were in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Hey friends, it's your girl Emily Curl, and we have something really special for you today. We are hanging out with country music royalty. We've got Dan and Shay here. Hi guys.
Hey, we'll take royalty. That's a nice word. You're making us feel good.
It's so nice to see you guys again. Thank you so much for taking the time. Today we're playing our game called 15 First. So we're gonna get to know you guys a little bit better. We have 15 different first time scenarios we're gonna run through. Are you guys ready to play?
I'm ready.
Ready? Fired up, dude. Fired up.
Let's go.
All right, question one. When was the first time you two officially met?
I know the exact date and time. It was December 7th, 2012. We've told the story a lot of times, but I was living in like literally the worst house ever. I'll try to keep it short and sweet here. I was living in this house, found it on Craigslist for like $100 a month. It had no heat, no AC, no lock on the door. That's how Shay was easily able to get into the house. And a mutual friend of ours like brought Shay over to the house just to hang out one night. Side note, we had a tent in the living room with sheets that we bought at a thrift store for $6 because we couldn't afford heat. And Shay came over and he was quiet all night, which I found out later to not really be the case. And he was chilling and we were all passing around a guitar and singing. And then like 2 a.m. he's like, hey man, can I borrow that guitar and sing something? And he sang and I was like, you've been holding out on us, dog. I was the best singer I've ever heard in my life. And we started writing the next morning and we haven't stopped since. So December 7th, 2012.
I love you know the exact date. I mean, that's amazing. That's good.
I still got the voice memo in my phone when I recorded him as best singer ever.
It was a big day. I remember that one.
That's so funny. Well, speaking of singers, let's talk about question two. What was the very first country music song that you each loved?
There's so many. One that kind of stands out to me. I remember my sister was dating a guy a long time ago. I was probably 14 or 15, and he had made this like mix tape for her, like an actual, like recorded it from the radio, pretty sure. And it was a song called Amazed by Lone Star. There's many that contribute to my love of country music, but that was definitely one that I really connected with for sure.
I also love that you listened to the mixtape. Did she enjoy it too? Did she listen to it?
She drove me to school every day, so I kind of had to.
Okay, there you go.
I think mine would have to be like a song. I don't know exactly which one, but something by Kenny Chesney, one of his early songs, which is crazy in full circle because we're on tour with Kenny Chesney this summer and he's still like our favorite artist of all time. We know every word to every song. So it had to be a Kenny Chesney song. Like my memory's not that good. I can remember the date that we met, but I can't remember what the first country song I loved is, but it's definitely something by Kenny Chesney.
Definitely with Kenny. Let's talk about tour for a second because this seems like such an incredible stadium tour. What's the best part about being, performing next to Kenny Chesney?
Well, I'd probably just say being with Kenny Chesney. I mean, we get a free concert every Saturday. We get to go watch him. And as soon as we get off stage, we're headed to front of house and we get to watch that show. And there's just so much we can learn from Kenny. He's such a great guy. He's been doing this for so long. And he treats his crew and his band so well. And that's something to learn from. He's had the same guys, same crew for like years and years. And if you're able to do that, you're clearly doing something right. And when you're touring, it always comes from the top down, and that's something to remember for us. And your interactions, they matter, and even how he performs on stage. I mean, the guy is just unbelievable on stage. He's got his really cool moves. He does this sometimes. We're trying to learn them, so we can. I hope he never sees this. He's gonna see us doing this later and be like, I know where you got that, dude. But
great.
He's been so good to us too, so we're very thankful to be out there.
That's amazing. What's the most fun Kenny Chesney song to like sing in the crowd?
Oh man, there's videos of us on the internet. I think like we sang along to Young was a good one. Living in Fast Forward is rocking. Beer in Mexico is good. I Go Back goes off.
Anything But Mine is always good. Yeah, sing along as well.
And then he ends with "She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy," and it's just crazy. It's wild.
Well, let's talk about question three. What was the very first concert you ever attended?
Oh man, I'm from a really small town. We didn't get many concerts. Dan's from Pittsburgh. A lot better concerts came through there. I think my first one was a band called Reliant K from back in the day, like a pop punk band, because it came to like a local church or something like that.
Sadie Hawkins Dance was the best.
Sadie Hawkins Dance, dude, is unbelievable.
He's wearing his khaki pants.
I'm wearing my khaki pants. Nothing better, dude.
In my khaki pants? Oh, it's so good. Now, Dan, what about you? What was your first one?
I think mine was a Dave Matthews Band concert. It was at like
that's a good one.
The baseball stadium in Pittsburgh, and like everybody went. I was pretty young. I'm sure I went to concerts before that, but that was like the first one that like I remember like, all right, I'm going to the concert. It's gonna be awesome. I saw and smelled things that I'd never smelled before in my life, and it was crazy.
Really? I love that. Okay, what about before you guys were full-time musicians and artists? Question 4, what was the very first job you ever had?
Oh man, mine was sweeping floors probably. My dad has a construction company, so when I was probably 3 or 4, my dad gave me my first job and I was getting paid 25 cents an hour, which was pretty solid at age 3. I was able to, buy something at the gas station, maybe a candy bar or something.
Put it in the piggy bank. Oh yeah.
That was my first job and really the only job I had through high school until music, was doing construction. So I'm very thankful that it worked out for sure.
I think mine would have to be mowing lawns. At least mowing my own lawn, and my dad would pay me like $10 or whatever to mow the whole lawn. It took me like 2 days. I still love mowing the lawn. It's literally my favorite thing to do. I just mowed the lawn yesterday. I'm covered in mosquito bites, but yeah.
Really? Why? Is it therapeutic?
It is. But although like we haven't had rain at all in Nashville recently, and my lawn does not look good. It looks very, very bad. Also, I'm just very frugal. And the thought of like paying a company like a couple $100 a week to mow my lawn, I'm like, I got it myself. So I bought a mower for like $20, and you break even after a week or two. It's like it's the best thing in the world.
That's the gift that keeps on giving too.
It is. My mower's 10 years old and I haven't ever had the blades sharpened, so it's probably not doing a great job.
Okay, what about question 5? What was your very first performance as Dan and Shay?
Ooh, as Dan and Shay, I think we were not officially a band yet. I think that we made a trip down to, was it Austin, Texas?
Yeah.
It was our lawyer at the time came, he was like, we got this showcase together and you guys are going to perform at South by Southwest. And so we're like, man, this is going to be awesome. And we had just been writing songs a lot. And so we were like, I asked Dan, I was like, would you come with me and like play all the songs that we've been writing? And so we put together this band of people that we just kind of knew. And we went down there and we're like, man, I was like all nervous. We had like 3 days of rehearsal. We got it all together and we show up at this place and it was us. There was more people on stage than there were people in the crowd. And the only people in the crowd was Dan's lawyer, my lawyer, and like
Paul
DiGiovanni, who ended up writing one of our hits, How Not To, who was on that song. He was in a band called Blue Black Girls back in the day, who they're still, I guess they're touring again now.
Yeah.
Which is big fans, but he was there and we were nervous for that anyway because I was a big Boys Like Girls fan. And but there was like I think one bartender, she was in the back slinging drinks to nobody because there was no one there. But that was our first official show.
It's insane now to think of you selling out these stadium tours. I mean, you're traveling all over. Do you still get nervous? Like, does it ever still hit you that like, okay, we're about to play to these people?
I think the reason that we get nervous is because we feel like so indebted to our fans for getting us to where we are, that we want to put on the best show. It's expensive to go to a concert these days. I'm not gonna lie. And for somebody to like save up all year to come to our concert is like the coolest thing in the world. If you bring your family, if you're buying beers, the whole deal, it adds up. So our thing, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to do the best show that we possibly can because I feel that if somebody saves up their money to come to our show, they deserve the best that we can possibly give them. So that's like, we're like going over the set, we're talking it out, we're going through all of our moves, like trying to bring our A game every single night.
Well, question number 6, in honor of one of the fan favorites, when was the very first time you tasted tequila?
Oh my goodness. I think I had moved to Nashville before I ever had tequila. That was not usually my go-to. I was also very young when I moved to Nashville, so I don't want to say the first time. I was probably like, I think I was 21 before I had tequila. But it was probably on Demumbrian Street here in Nashville. I'm pretty sure it was probably, I remember I lived in a building that was right next to a place called Tin Roof. And I'm pretty sure that Chris Young was there and he bought a tequila shot for everybody because he was there just about every day. We all went there to Tin Roof. I'm pretty sure it was the first time I ever had tequila. And the first time I was like, that's the worst thing I've ever had. And then it's kind of the only thing that we drink now. So it's
really, that's the go-to drink now?
Yeah.
What about question 7? What was the first tour you ever opened for?
First tour we ever opened for, I think was Hunter Hayes, right? We went out with Hunter Hayes. We went out with Blake Shelton very early on too. But we went out with Hunter Hayes and we were just out there with an acoustic guitar. It was an arena tour. We were on first and we were just up there with an acoustic guitar, like trying to rock out, like trying to win these people over. But it saved us a lot of money, not having to pay a band or a crew. It was literally just the two of us out there doing our thing. And we're grateful that Hunter took us out on that tour. We made a lot of amazing fans who still come to our shows and learned a lot from him. So that was a blast. And I think we did a few tours with Hunter. We toured with Blake. Remember when we toured with Blake? Like 4 acts on the bill, and our stage space, like you couldn't even walk to the stage. You had to like tiptoe across the front. There was no room with all the gear up there.
It was about the space we had between this couch and this camera. It was about our stage space.
I can imagine too, Blake is such a character, especially on tour. What was that like being with him, especially when you're starting out in your career?
Oh my goodness, it was unbelievable. It was kind of a full circle moment for me because I remember one of the very first times I visited Nashville. I was probably like 9. I think I was 8 the first time, but I was probably 9 or 10 when we had been coming back and forth. And I went to eat over by Opryland, kind of where the new Opry is now. And I was eating at an Applebee's. And I remember going in there and Blake Shelton was sitting at the table. He had just played the Opry. And I didn't say anything to him. I was too nervous. But he was over there, and I remember he tipped the waitress $900. I'll never forget that. And I always thought, like, he left and they were like freaking out, and I was like, man, that's the coolest thing I've ever witnessed. And it was Blake. Wow. And then we had that kind of full circle moment of us opening up for him, and we've learned so much from him, man. He's just exactly who you want him to be. He's exactly the person that you see. What you see is what you get. So we learned a lot from that guy, and we've definitely had a lot of nights that I don't quite remember all of the night, but he's
tasting tequila. There we go.
A good time. He's definitely a good time.
Okay, what about question 8? What was on the very first rider you ever made?
Well, our rider's pretty simple. I feel like it's the same now as it was back then. It was like just a case of water, maybe like a cheap bottle of tequila. We drink this tequila called Espolon. People are like, what kind of fancy tequila? I'm like, we drink like the $17 bottle. It's great. That's our go-to. I'm trying to think what else we've had on there. We've had like chips and hummus in the past, and then we realized we just don't like wasting anything. Like we had a bag of chips and hummus there, and we didn't eat it ever. So it was like, take it off the rider. Let's save that $3.50 every night. But yeah, we keep it pretty simple. People are always asking and expecting something crazy, but we got nothing.
Okay, what about question 9, the first time you met one of your heroes?
Oh my goodness. I mean, there's been so many moments like this. I remember one of the first, like as we became a band, we were at the BMI Awards probably back in 2013, and we got invited to this. You have all these kind of industry awards. There's the BMI Awards, the ASCAP Awards, and all these kind of different industry things. And we got invited. I believe it was the BMI Awards.
Yeah.
And Dan and I we had just gotten signed, and I remember, I think it was Scott Hendricks. He's an A&R guy, one of the best producers of all time here at Warner. And he's like, Keith Urban is over there. He heard your song 19 You and Me, and he wants to meet you guys. And we're like, there's no chance, dude.
We've been drinking a lot, too.
We've been drinking all day. We didn't think we were even going to get invited to the awards. And I remember kind of him walking up, and I was like, oh my God, it's Keith Urban, dude. It was like the first, really famous country artist that we'd ever met. And I was so nervous. I have no idea what we said, but I do remember the exchange because he smelled really good. And we talk about this more times than we should. But Keith Urban is the best smelling country
Keith smells
artist.
good.
Maybe one of the best smelling people on planet Earth.
Oh, by far.
He's got like a custom scent, dude. It's unbelievable. So we were very nervous.
Oh my God, we need that
We
secret.
have a picture from that. We got a picture with Keith, and he was wearing his BMI award there in the photo.
We did
not have a BMI award, but Keith did.
But you have a photo with someone who did, which is all that matters.
Yeah.
What about question 10? I feel like in any band's history, you're gonna have at least one band fight. What was the very first band fight, and what was it over?
I think I remember one fight where we got pretty heated late night. We were arguing who's a better band, the 1975 or Laney. We were in Atlanta. Yeah, they're friends of ours. We love both of them, but I remember I was like, no, Laney's better. And you're like, no, 1975 is the best band ever.
It was late night. It was late night. And I was like, 1975 maybe the best band of all time. And it was like in an era where we had all like the band guys, they kind of got turned on to 1975. We've been listening to them. We were completely obsessed. And Laney, now looking back, I do love Laney. But it was, for whatever reason, it really meant a lot to us at the time.
Heated.
1975 is the greatest band of all time.
He literally said they're the best band of all time. Like, forget the Beatles, forget it.
It was a bold statement. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
I was like 19 years old. All right. Thanks a lot for bringing that up. Now we're going to have that fight again. It's going to be
right after this.
More heated.
What about question 11? What was your very first number one? Because I feel like that's always a special time.
Yeah, our first number one was a song called Nothing Like You off of our first album. It was the third single we put out, and we're hard-headed. We trust our gut, but everyone in our lives was telling us that song is like, that's the hit. Our wives, everybody was like, that's the one. Why is this not the single? Why is this not the single? And then like eventually we're like, okay, we're making it the single now. And of course, it was our first number one, and it was a special song. It changed our lives, and it's still to this day, hearing your own song on the radio is it's the coolest feeling in the entire world. So we geek out about it, and we still play it every night in our show.
Yeah, what about question 12, your first big collab? You guys have worked with so many amazing people over the years. What was the very first big one?
Oh man, I'm trying to think it was Kelly Clarkson. I think it was our very first one. That's setting the bar really high. I mean, she is such an unbelievable singer, and also just as much of an amazing singer, she's an even better person, which is, if she's a better person than she is a singer, that means she's an unbelievable human being. And she was just incredible to work with, and hearing her sing in the studio, hearing her sing live. We've got to do that song with her live a couple times, which is just, it was a really special moment. It was a song called Keeping Score, and that was just an amazing moment, getting to kind of stand next to her, just kind of trying to remember the words, because I'm just kind of looking at her being like,
wow.
You're Kelly Clarkson. And, no, she was amazing. So that was our first big one.
We also love 10,000 Hours. Question 13, when was the first time you met Justin Bieber?
I don't remember if we met him at Scooter Braun's house first, or there was one very, very like extreme memory early on. We were at South by Southwest, not the time when we played for nobody.
It's a different time.
We played for close to nobody. But there was like this backyard barbecue thing, this party we were playing just with a bunch of random artists. We were playing and we heard like yo guys, can you keep playing a little longer? Justin Bieber just arrived and he wants to jump on stage and sing. And like the crowd, like I think had like gotten wind that he was in Austin, Texas, and was like, he might come out. So people started like filing in for the show. We're like, this is cool. People like us. There's a lot of people here now. And then like Bieber like busts out with all these security guards and he like comes running out, grabs the mic and sang. There's a video of that on the internet somewhere. I think Tori Kelly was there. Rixton was there. Yeah, it was crazy. We sang like a bunch of songs.
We sang random songs. We sang Cruise at some point. Yeah. It was a blast.
I love it. Okay, 2 more for you. Question 14. I also loved your personal lives. When was the first time you each met your wife?
Oh man. You want me to start?
Yeah,
I'll
go
start.
for it.
The very first time that I ever met my wife in person was at a show we were doing actually in Fayetteville, Arkansas, close to my hometown. She was from Arkansas. She was from the other side of Arkansas, but she was living in Fayetteville. We'd been kind of, texting with each other and hadn't really met in person, and had a lot of mutual friends. And I somehow convinced her to come out to our show at this little place called George's Majestic Lounge in Fayetteville.
It was majestic.
It was, yeah.
Wow.
It wasn't so majestic, I'll be honest. But it was this iconic venue to us as locals. And like, oh man, we're playing this place, and this is gonna be so cool. I grew up going to shows there and stuff. And I remember after the show, we hung out, and she met my whole family that night, which was probably incredibly overwhelming. I'm sure
The first night? Oh, that's good.
Her, like, yeah, it was the worst thing ever. But my mom and my dad and my sisters were all there, and we were all kind of hanging on the bus, and she left, and I remember her walking off of the bus with all my family, and my best friend Benji Davis was there, and I remember I walked her out and I was like, I'm gonna marry that girl, and somehow convinced her to be able to stick around with me for this long. But that was the first night.
Dan, what about you?
I met Abby. We're actually at our record label right now, Warner Music Nashville. I met her here. She was on our promo team. So we went out on our first radio tour. She was working the Northeast region, getting our song 19 You and Me way up the charts, like killing it for us. She was like so professional, right? She grew up in the industry. Her dad is in the Country Radio Hall of Fame. He's the guy, right? So her whole life, she's like, I am not gonna date or marry an artist, like no one in the music industry. And she was like pretty hell bent on not dating someone in the music industry. And I was in love with her, and I was like, I'm gonna marry this girl. So we were out on the road together, and eventually I convinced her to go on a date with me, and it was great. It was great. We were working together. It was awesome, and here we are. She's not in the music business anymore. She gets enough of that heartbreak from me, but she does animal rescue and saves a lot of dogs, which is
wow.
really...
Oh my God, it's amazing. Okay, last one for you guys. Question 15. The first time you decided that you would be your next single.
Oh my goodness. I mean, this song from the very beginning, when we put out the album, our fans really gravitated toward this song. And we've had a lot of big wedding songs. That's kind of been our bread and butter, is love songs. So we try to do something different and put out another love song. And people have just kind of gravitated toward this. And we're checking social media, and we're seeing all these people using You as their first dance song. And we knew that was a really good sign. And our wives loved it, and all of our family loved it. We always try to listen to that as well, because they're usually right. But we just saw a lot of fans using this as their wedding song, and just kind of singing along at our show. During our arena tour, they were singing that song like it was already a single. And so we knew that our fans loved it, and we loved the song, and we were just excited to put it out. And people were asking for it, like, is it going to be a single? Can we hear it on the radio? And we finally we let them wait a little while, but we're so excited to have this one out there. It's definitely a fan favorite already.
I mean, we're so excited for you guys. Thank you both so much for taking the time today, for playing our 15 first, and we cannot wait to see you on tour this summer. Dan and Shay, thank you both.
Thank you for hanging with us.
This has been so fun. And for everyone watching, make sure you stream all of Dan and Shay's music on iHeartRadio, including their new single, You, out now, and we'll see you guys next time.